Joining us right now is Eurasia Group practice head for China and Northeast Asia, Michael Hirson. And Michael, it's good to have you here this morning. What's your reaction to this phase one deal?
I couldn't put it better than you did. I think this is really a truce, and neither side really gave much on this. I mean, the Chinese didn't really touch the politically sensitive issues, like transfer of intellectual property. On the other hand, President Trump didn't give all that much. He delayed a 5% tariff hike on October 15th, but we still have a very, very large amount of tariffs in place on Chinese imports.
Why does Secretary Mnuchin constantly oversell this deal and try to make everybody think that they're so close? And then we get a market reaction only to see a reversal the next day.
Well, you've got different camps within the administration. Secretary Mnuchin, I think, is more worried about markets, more worried about the economic impact. And then you have folks like U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, who believes this is the fight and, is willing to go to the mattresses, so to speak, to really level the playing field on these issues. So you have to listen to different voices within the administration, and I think Lighthizer is a key one.
That's it. They want to see the market rally. That's what it is.
Michael, was the additional 5% on the $200 billion enough leverage to get them to come to the table this far? I mean, because if not, then what's going to get them to get to the table for the next thing? Because we do have, I think, $160 billion that hasn't been tariffed at all in December. I mean, are these tariffs really getting them to the table, or is this just a stalling tactic?
So, my view is really where both leaders are right now. President Trump, President Xi Jinping, they are worried about the risks of further escalation. So what this truce allowed them to do is have an easy out and avoid the economic impact for both economies of having additional tariffs. Now, would more tariffs work? I don't know. I think it's very unlikely that China is going to budge through pressure alone. There have to be some carrots as well. There have to be some assurances for China that the U.S. administration won't turn around a month from now and levy tariffs or go after more Chinese technology companies. And I don't know if the administration would give those assurances. So I think it's going to be very difficult to get over the finish line on these remaining issues.
What about the APEC summit, November 16th, 17th? Maria, of course, saying, according to her sources, that's in theory when President Xi Jinping, President Trump are supposed to meet. Do you think something substantial can be announced there?
I think it will be phase one. It will just be the details of what we heard of this. And the question is, do we ever get to phase two or phase three? And look, it's possible, but I'm skeptical. I think neither leader really feels enough urgency to make those tough concessions in order to get to an actual deal. So we may just stay here.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I think the administration is overselling it. I think they continue to want to see markets rally and stay calm. So they tell us we're close, we're close, we're close. But the president has gotten nothing in terms of the big ticket items. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin continues to oversell this.
I think that's right. We could end up just staying in this place and never really touching the tough issues.
Michael, how much of this is China's long-term strategy, trying to string this out to the election to see what the results of that might be?
There's an aspect of that, but I think more broadly, China just doesn't want to make concessions on these tough issues, especially with the, to be honest, there have been so many reversals in these trade negotiations, and some of them have come from the administration. So Beijing right now is skeptical. They don't know if any deal would stand up. In other words, if they were to go ahead and make these concessions, would it actually keep the U.S. from imposing more tariffs down the line? So there's mutual distrust on both sides, which makes it really difficult to tackle the tough issues.
All right, we will leave it there. Michael, it's great to get your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. From the Eurasia Group, Michael Hirson.